So this is my voice. This is what I sound like. Welcome, denizens of Twitter and the internets. Or what you're looking at right now, what you should see on your screen is what do we know about conspiracy theories? Psychologist research offers insight into why people put faith in conspiracies such as QAnon. Now, this is not to bash QAnon. This is just simply to read this and see how I read things because I do a lot of like journaling or journal clubs type stuff on the Twitters. So we see that this just came out on the 18th. It's by Zara Abrams, who I recently interacted with. We'll get to that because there was a brief Twitter interactions between us about this article and something I found inside of it that I just wanted to reach out about. So we can start. So one of the things I like to do when I'm starting out is, of course, find out who wrote it, like a little bit about them, where they're from, what they do, how they are. Miss Abrams here, she has a BA in neuroscience and an MA in science journalism from USC. She's appeared in the Washington Post, the Desert Sun, and the APA Monitor, which is what we have here, and some other outlets. That's from her own website. So let's go ahead and get started here, see what's going on. We'll just read through it, and we'll just start reading. So psychological research shows humans' tendency to perceive patterns and embrace information that meets needs for security and belonging as a driving force behind widespread irrational beliefs. Yeah, I think that's true. I read a lot of the articles on this conspiratorial ideation. Well, some of the people I read are going to be cited in here, and it's interesting stuff. If you're interested in it, you can look back in my Twitter. I'll probably do some more, but we'll have it. It says right here we go. It goes on to say about half of Americans believe in at least one disproven conspiracy theory, and then we have a citation. So yeah. That's what the literature has shown, that most Americans believe in a debunked conspiracy. So that right there is a link. You can click on it here. We'll show you. If you click on it, yeah, it'll probably take you to like PubMed or the publisher's website, and let's see what pops up. Okay, so it's a Wiley article. You'll have to register probably to get in to be able to read it. I have access, not on this browser that I'm doing it. I'm not signed in right now. Yeah. So you can sign in, you can get access. If you're at a school or a library, they probably have access. You can always check with your local library, but it's always good to check sources on stuff, just see where things come from. So if we scroll down here, we see that perhaps none more provocative than QAnon, a conspiracy theory that President Trump is waging a secret war against a pedophilic ring of deep state elites linked to the Democratic Party. I guess that's what QAnon's about. I don't honestly know a lot about Q, but from what I've heard, that's the gist of it. If I'm wrong, let me know. Less absurd, but more insidious claims, for instance, that COVID-19 is a hoax, are also part of the Q. I have seen a lot of that too. That's probably more what I interact with from people that I see with the Q type stuff in their postings or that make Q references. QAnon first started in 2017. I'm going to guess that's true. On the messaging board 4chan. Yeah, I've heard that it started on 4chan, has since mushroomed into a web of misinformation. That's generally how all information spreads. So, I mean, if it's misinformation, the web makes sense. I'm not going to knock that. And nearly half of Americans who knew about QAnon, 20% say it's somewhat or very good for the country. And then there's a Pew Research link there, which is true. I did go through this. The actual survey says that 47% of Americans have heard of Q. 20% of that 47% say it's good in some way, which is what she's classifying here as somewhat or very. That's 9.4% of all Americans, if you extrapolate it out, that think Q is net good. And out of that 20%, there's 16% that call it somewhat, 4% that call it very good. That's 1.8% that say very good. In terms of population, if America's got 328 million people, then that's 6.2 million people that think Q is very good. It's not an insubstantial amount, I would say. So let's go on here. It says widespread belief in conspiracy theories is cause for concern, says Karen Douglas, PhD. Karen Douglas is one of the people that I enjoy reading about the most just because her research interests kind of follow what I'm looking at or want to know about conspiratorial ideation and links to other correlations that are out there in groups. It says here she's a professor of social psychology at the University of Kent. Because research links support in such theories to prejudice, violence, and terrorism is what it is. Several followers of QAnon have been charged with violent crimes, prompting the FBI to label the group a potential domestic terrorist threat in May, which is true. That's facts. I mean, the people that have posted or cited or, documented that they have Q activity or followers, believers, whatever you want to call it, have committed crimes. And the FBI has said this about the group. I mean, I'm not making a judgment here. I'm just following the facts, and so is Miss Abrams here. We'll read further. Psychological research on cognition, personality, and conspiratorial narratives help explain why the theory has taken hold and what makes it appealing and how it might be stopped. Yet, stopping conspiracy theories or conspiratorial thinking or ideation is something that I haven't really read a lot on. I've read a few articles. I've talked to some people about it. It's very interesting stuff. I think it'll probably be the next kind of hurdle or subject that I tackle to see what's going on there. It says here, in a series of experiments, Douglas and John William Van Poojian, PhD. I also read this guy, but I've never heard his name pronounced, so how do I know? He's an associate professor of social and organizational psychology at a place in Amsterdam that I'm not going to screw up trying to pronounce. Found a tendency to perceive hallucinatory. I've read this one. The hallucinatory patterns, the words on the screen, patterns, to connect stimulus that aren't related is a part of the cognitive machinery behind irrational beliefs such as conspiracy theories. And then they have a quote here, or not a quote, a citation. There's a citation here that does this. Both Karen Douglas and Dr. Van Poojian are boss in this area. I read a lot of their articles about this. This paper and a few of theirs are in my pile. So when I do conspiratorial ideation, I get a lot of theirs. Now I read others. It's not just them, but they come up a lot. It's a good name just to type into PubMed if you don't know how to do that. I can hook you up here. So you will just take this name. This is how you look it up. If you want to look up a citation, you can take the title or the person's name and you can just jump in and you can go here and you can just paste that in and you can just do a quick search and it will pop up with a lot of information. And you can see here, it's a free article. This is a free article and they're, of course, in conspiracy. So you can just click on them. This is not the one, by the way, that they're citing, but it's there. You click here and it'll get you a nice PDF or EPUB. Yeah. So you can read it right here if you want. It'll be here. But if you want to take it with you or print it out, I like to print out. You just pop in, slap that on, and booyah. There you go. Got the whole article. You read through it. Try to understand as much as you can. Ask questions if you don't. Find people that know. But that's how you do that. And that's how I did the ones that I'm doing here. Let's get that unhighlighted. Let's see. So I've read this paper already. It does say what it's saying here, that there's a relation or correlation, at least between the illusory patterns and the connection to stimuli that aren't there is part of the cognitive machinery. People that tend to find patterns in things where patterns don't exist tend to have more conspiratorial ideation and thinking and belief. Skipping down here, along those lines, following this up, some QAnon followers, I'd like to know what the quantification here is, but I'm guessing it's just there's evidence that there's more than one. Think that because Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, President Trump is sending a message to them or sending them messages when he mentions the number 17. I'm going to take somebody's word for that because I believe, because this is the Washington Post and I'm not giving Bezos any more of my money. That's good. Solidarity. So I'm willing to concede the 17 thing either way. If somebody wants to prove me right or wrong there, this is fine. We go down here and there's going to be a social psychology citation. So we're jumping down spare. Q, the anonymous internet poster behind the movement who claims to be a high-ranking U.S. intelligence official, cites cryptic. Oh, he doesn't cite him. He releases cryptic breadcrumbs known as drops on the line that followers then decipher. Drops are said to explain or predict developments in the supposed war between President Trump and the alleged deep state pedophile. Participating in what feels like an exclusive intelligence circle can satisfy the human need for uniqueness, psychologist research has shown, prompting a desire to continue participating. Oh, okay. So that's interesting, Now, this article right here, Lanian's in it. It's another Karen Douglas window. She's on it. It's very good too. I might do a read on it later on Twitter, but you can find out what it says if you just follow the links here. It'll take you to PubMed or the publisher and let you know. Scrolling down, let's go. People also turn to conspiracy theories when important psychological needs aren't being met, says Douglas. Okay. Her research shows that such narratives can fulfill our need for certainty and security, for instance, when events seem random and for social belonging. We have one here in current directions in psychology science. Yeah, I haven't read this, so I can't comment on it, but it's there. You can follow up. When people say do your own research, this is really what they mean. Like, get citations, follow this, let it load, come here, find out what's really being said. Oh, it looks like you can get this one too. So yeah, you can read up. There you go. I'll do a read on this one maybe later. This is something I haven't looked into. The psychology of conspiracy theories is, but this, I don't think I've read this paper. When did it come out? 2017. Maybe I did. I don't recall it specifically, just by the title and what was referenced there. So we'll go back. Those findings help explain why many Americans, including QAnon supporters, have turned to extreme explanations for the COVID-19 pandemic. Survey data collected by psychologist Daniel Romer, PhD, research director at University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg Public Policy Center, suggests that more than a third of U.S. adults think that the coronavirus is a bioweapon created by the Chinese government. And here's the citation. Now, I will say this. This is the point where I reached out to Ms. Abrams, because if you actually follow this, let's see if it pulls up. If you actually follow this, there are data tables and there are results. Let's see. No. So this one doesn't pull up. You'll have to get it from Elsevier. It smells like beer, right? Is there, what it actually says is, I think 28.3. Let me look at my notes right here, because let's see. Okay. Yeah. 28.3% thought that Chinese did it. Yeah. 28.3% thought it was. Now the end value for this, that's the number of people that participated in the second set of surveys, which is what they're citing here. They did an original set of surveys at over 1,000 people. Follow-up had 840 people. They found that 28.3% thought the Chinese did it. 23.5% said the CDC was in on it. And 14.8% thought Big Pharma was behind COVID. So you can follow that. I did reach out to her. She did take the correction. She said that there was an interview, which you'll see. He's going to be quoted next, Dr. Romer. He said over a third, to her, speaking generally, referring, I don't know if he's referring specifically to this paper or this research or something else or other data that he had, but the citation that she gives does not support the claim that's made here, but she's aware of that. She's correcting it. It's not a big deal. It happens. That's the way the system's supposed to work. But yeah, I tweeted her because I'm a professional, and that's how professionals communicate about this stuff. Let's see what Dr. Romer has to say here. Conspiracy theories make people feel as though they have some level of control over the world. They can be psychologically reassuring, especially in uncertain times. That's true. There's actually a study, which I can't cite, so I'll just have to take my word for it right now. I'll try to find it. It says that historically, in uncertain times, belief in conspiracy goes up. So the more uncertain the world events are, measured by like war, unrest, political things, the more people believe in conspiracy theories. They coincide. There's a correlation there, is what it is. Now let's see what's going on. Research also indicates that some people are more likely to embrace conspiratorial narratives than others. Schizotypy, for example, a personality trait defined by extent and suspiciousness of others, is tied to the belief in conspiracy theories. People who see the world as a dangerous place and those who are prone to think meaningless information is profound are also more likely to embrace such narratives. We have a citation here from the Journal of Individual Differences. I don't know this one. Let me see here what I'm reading. Let me break it down. I do know that schizotypy has been proven to have a defense on it, so we'll go ahead and just assume that the definition here is right. She's got a degree in neuroscience. People see the world as a dangerous place. That one I need to read. I have not always seen that. I know that, the illusory illusory. There it is. Illusory pattern people do have it prompt. Let me see if I have notes on this. I think I did. Hold on. Let's find out. I think Bose wrote this. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to accept cookies like a dumbass. No, this is a heart. Okay, I did not read this one. I don't know exactly what's in this one. So we'll just follow up on that one too, maybe. Some evidence suggests a link between personality and conspiracy theories. Yeah. Shauna Bose, clinical psychology doctoral student at Emory, and her colleagues surveyed nearly 2,000 people and found that those lower on agreeability, conscientiousness, and humility were more likely to embrace both general conspiracy theory statements like the government is hiding something from us, and concrete ones, for instance, that the Apollo moon landings were fake. Okay, people with pathological personality scores such as high grandiosity and low-level self-esteem were even more likely to support conspiratorial narratives. Citation here. Now, I haven't read this paper, but I'm going to step out for a second. I'll do it and come back. You won't notice, but it seems in line with others that I have. Okay, yeah. This seems to say, yeah, that people have what she mentions plus internalization, and with other personality disorders, pretty much, it just says that my ass should be Alex Jones is what it says. But I'm not. For whatever reason, I just have an interest in them. I don't think I have any conspiratorial beliefs. Not any of the big ones, at least. I probably have some about general small things. So let's just keep going. Oh, here we are. The future of conspiracy theories. This is what we need, right? As QAnon evolves, it absorbs new theories. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there just because I've heard QAnon advertised as, or maybe described as, because I don't think the people that are trying to get me into QAnon are saying this, but it's a grand unified theory of conspiracies. It's a grand unified conspiracy theory. Everything ties into it in one way or another, depending on what path you take. It's a choose your own adventure theory. Believers from unexpected places, including attracting online wellness influencers and a large following in Germany. QAnon has gone dark since the U.S. presidential election. I don't know about that. I think they've been a little more active. They're probably over in Parler. I haven't been there, but I see screenshots. But experts don't think that means QAnon. Well, I don't think you have to be an expert to say that or think that. Believers may instead join adjacent conspiracy theory communities or more mainstream efforts to dispute election results. Yeah, I'd say that's all true, and it's been true. I mean, the election results is new because we just had the election, but generally that's what they've been doing. We can think of many conspiracies like a virus because they take on new life as they spread. Bose said, yeah, that's true. I've been doing this since the days of Art Bell and Bill Cooper. So yeah, they don't die. They never die. Someone's always holding out. Someone out there right now is preaching time cube, and no one understands time cube. So let's see. Future research should define various flavors of conspiracy theories. Ooh, okay. Bose said to understand if they attract different types of believers. That would be interesting. I would like to see that if there's different flavors. Yeah, how they would label as categories. That would be good. She also hopes to dig deeper into interactions between the personality traits and pathological factors that predict such a belief. She also hopes to dig deeper into interactions between the personality traits and pathological factors that predict such beliefs, and to explore how personality and beliefs develop in tandem over time. Yeah, this is one of the reasons that I look into developmental psychology. I don't look into developmental or children's psychology for anything other than conspiratorial ideation stuff and conspiracy theory stuff, like just to see how it is affected. Back to Karen Douglas here. Douglas says more work is needed to understand the long-term effects of conspiratorial or conspiracy thinking, as well as when and why people choose to share theories. The neurological basis of conspiratorial thinking also remains largely unknown. Van Pugian says, yeah, we don't know. We know what factors coexist with, like what kind of comorbidities you can have, what makes you more prone to it, but we don't know the neurological basis. And I probably won't ever, because I'm not a biologist or a neurologist or anything of the sort. Dispelling conspiracy theories is a major challenge. Yeah, that's something I've experienced. We'll see what they say here. Partly because their adherents tend to distrust authority and believe that powerful people or groups are corrupt, a conviction that supporters of QAnon share. So this is a big problem. I'm going to finish reading here, but I have my own kind of experience, my anecdote to share here. So we'll skip this and then we'll come back because I've been doing this since like JFK was the big one, Oklahoma City, before 9/11. So let's see. Conspiracy theories are sticky, and it might be ideal to inoculate against rather than trying counter arguments after they've already stuck, Douglas says, referencing a study she co-authored on anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. Read this one. It's true. It's easier if you get the facts out first and you get somebody thinking, I'm trying to remember, thinking critically before they hear the theory. People tend to cling to what they hear first. Like once they accept an idea, whether they're justified or not, whether they have strong beliefs in it or not, whether they're personally affected by it or not, they tend to hold those, and you have to then make an argument against them, and they defend them just naturally. That's been my experience and what I was going to say about conspiracy theories. You can't really convince people if they have a really, really tightly held conspiracy, because anything you present as evidence is part of the conspiracy. Anyone you cite as evidence is part of the conspiracy. The conspiracy always gets bigger. It never gets smaller. And by the time you ask them, like, one of my favorite things to do is ask, how many people have to be involved in this, yo? And by the time you realize how many people have to be involved in this conspiracy, of course, they're all unwitting. That's part of it, too. You just have these useful idiots everywhere. But, I mean, when you really break it down, we can go over it. I have a checklist. I honestly use them. Rational Wiki, I think, has one as well. But I like to use my own. That's just things you can go over with conspiratorial ideas and see what they are in art and like how big they have to get and how long they'd have to last. And you can actually do some analysis to prove it. Of course, that's never really worked. I'm not going to say it never has. It's 99% ineffective. So let's go ahead. An inoculation effort could involve presenting scientific information on an issue such as the safety and efficiency of coronavirus vaccine before people are exposed to counter narrative. That's it. That's what you got to do. You have to beat it first. Like Mark Twain said, right? A lie makes around the world before truth gets its pants on or boots laced or whatever out of bed. I can't remember what he said, something like that. But the point is, you can do it. And one of the problems when you encounter these kind of conspiratorial ideas is that people can just throw them out. They don't have to back them up. They don't have to think hard. They just believe them. They throw them out. And so one of the things I hate is equal time. Because if you give someone 5 minutes and someone else 5 minutes and one of them is conspiratorial, they just ramble. They just throw everything out. And by the time on the other side, if you're trying to disprove them, you have to cover step A. That takes your entire 5 minutes. You never even get to another point. And then they have their own lingo. There's a whole issue with this. But the main thing is that you're tied down, right? Because they can just endlessly spew stuff and you have to go back and make supported, rational, reasoned arguments with evidence and citations and all of that. And they just hand wave them because they have their belief and they can just spew more. So if you have 15 minutes, in 15 minutes, you're never going to beat them. You're just never going to beat them. You can't attack them when they have a platform either. It's just best not to. And I don't mean when they have a platform. I mean like when they are speaking, if they are a speaker at a podium and you are in the audience and they do it, that's fine. Or if they're a big person and you're commenting like in their YouTube comments, not going to win. They have the position of power. You have to have equal footing to begin with. And then you have to stop them. Like never get a debate with these people where it's equal time. It's point by point, like lay it out. When they say something, stop. Let's talk about that. That's where we're stopping. That's really the only way to do it. And then arguing, like the article here says, it's not really effective anyway. Anyway, let's finish this out. That was my sidetrack, my tangent for the whole night right there. Many people have doubts or questions about the government, and that's natural, says Van Poojian. Yeah, it is. Duh. We should question things. We should be skeptical, but that doesn't mean that we always are. We have to change with new information. A lot can be gained by targeting people for inoculation who are open to conspiratorial narratives, but also open to being persuaded otherwise. Yeah, that's the thing. They have to want to be open. They can't just be open. If they're open, they'll take things. They have to want to be open. They have to be willing to entertain a thought. That's something else that a lot of them can't do. They can't put their narrative aside. You see this with flat earthers. Okay, well, if gravity is true, then they will never I shouldn't say never. I'm using too many absolute. If you say, well, imagine gravity or whatever. If gravity's true, then when they won't give you gravity. They can't even conceptualize a world where gravity works in the way we say it does, or like science says it does, or math says it does. They have to have their version of the world at all times. They can't conceptualize that something else might be true. The ones that can, that's a good test. It's a good litmus test. The ones that can, you can probably convince on parts of the argument to get them to look deeper. But people who can't even conceptualize or hypotheticalize an idea or situation, it's game over most of the time. That's my personal experience. And like I said, 20 some odd years of this, that's what they do. We have further reading here, which I'm going to recommend that you do, especially this first one. I think this was actually the first article that I read on the Twitter, maybe. If it's not, it's one that I have done or wanted to do. I've read it. I read it when it came out. It's very good. This other one, let's see, better than it sounds like something I've read, but I'm not going to say that I have. You know what? Read all of these. That's, again, do your own research. Do your own research. Read the damn articles. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Miss Abrams' word for it. Read. Anyway, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'll be back with more later if you're enjoying this.